Hum, sigh, hum. Hum, sigh, hum. And you know what? While humming and sighing and humming, let me share what I'm about to. The Rock has. I'm talking about me. Not the Rock. Ha ha ha. Okay, folks, here's the problem. Every time I have been invited to attend the CES virtual media preview, I have fired up my own live stream and broadcasted the media preview. Now, I do this because I feel it's my job as credentialed media to inform those people who don't have access about all the good things to come at CES, right? And your job too, okay? This time, I had a little hiccup in the form of a tornado. Well, the threat of tornadoes around us in the state of Georgia, North Georgia, which caused us to be, I'm down here helping my mom while I have my place in Oakland, right? Caused us to be hit by some of the most powerful winds I've ever experienced. Like all of a sudden, like boom, okay, wow, all right, boom. And so we were in the basement up all night till the crack of dawn. And so, of course, because I was exhausted to begin with when this whole thing happened, I slept right through the time that the virtual session was starting. I have never done that before in all of my association with CES, either real or virtual. And when I realized what I had done, I was just devastated. So I thought, hey, of course, I'll be able to find the CES media preview on YouTube, right? No. And the last time there were one of these things, there were only two people, two organizations. There were only two organizations. Hey, welcome to Zennie62. Good morning. There were only two organizations that had a YouTube representation of the CES media preview. Myself and another person. It wasn't Mr. Harris, Jim Harris, who's a virtuoso at Twitter, which gets to my point, all right? I use a multi-platform approach. When I put out something here, as you know, if you're watching, or maybe Vinny is up and he's watching, and if Vinny, if you're watching, give a thumbs up. But at any rate, I try to make absolutely certain that my vlogs, thank you, Vinny, appreciate the thumbs up, thank you very much. I try to make absolutely certain that my vlogs show you what the Consumer Technology Association is going to present. And so I like to do it my way because it's multi-platform. I put out a video and it becomes a blog post. It becomes multiple blog posts. I have a network of 100 blogs. It doesn't go to each and every one of them, but it does go to 15 of them. And I'm very proud of what I built. It's an efficient way of doing media at a time when organizations like Google want to do media inefficiently, another subject. But the other reason I do it is because, let's be honest, you're giving free content and free work to organizations like Twitter and Facebook when you post to their platforms. And you don't do a thing to put any money or value in your pocket. At least YouTube, for me and my organization, as a pioneer YouTube partner, as I have been, and now my company owns the rights to my channel, right? But then I own 60% of the company. Anyway, what we do is we make sure that every social media interaction we do is monetized in this way, through video, okay? But the rest of you who are putting this on Twitter, primarily, you're not putting out material that is readily searchable in each and every other search engine, unless that search engine, like Google, has a relationship with Twitter. So you're handicapping the message you're sending out. If you do it the way that we do it, you don't do that, because we are truly multi-platform. Video, blog, Twitter, Facebook, right? The whole 9 yards, okay? CES has to take up the responsibility of making absolutely certain its message is on YouTube. YouTube is vitally important, not just because it's the second largest search engine in the world, but because it has a direct connection with the first one, which is Google. It also appears on Bing, and you get the idea, every other search engine. So CES is hurting itself by not making absolutely certain that the CES Media Preview is on YouTube. I have an email in, Gary Shapiro, Executive Director of the Consumer Electronics Association and arguably the czar of tech around this time of year. Look, I have an active, outstanding email that CTA hasn't responded to saying, hey, can you send me a clip of CES Media Day? Media Preview, excuse me, not Media Day. Why not? You know, why not? If this CES is to be what it is advertised to be, larger than 2021, perhaps the largest CES ever, then make sure people know about it beyond Twitter. Because wherever I went on YouTube, I couldn't find that information. I'm going to make my own video based on the tweets that I've seen that amount to a CES preview, right? Because I don't see it anywhere. What we have to be aware of is that today the world is multi-platform. You know, everyone likes to talk about the metaverse and yada, 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 whatever. That's only part of it, Mark Cantor. The world is multi-platform. What I mean is, we all have places we like to put things. Instagram, for example. Twitter, I've talked about. YouTube, Facebook, Patreon, TikTok, Snapchat. And platforms created that are since gone by the wayside. Remember Oakland Mirror Seismic, right? Or 12seconds.tv, or Vidoko, for which I sat on the advisory board out of Tel Aviv, or turnkey social media platforms you can use, like right now, like Peepso, Medium, which is not a social media platform, it's more a type of a blog, you know? The list goes on. There are tons of platforms where you can put, hey, let's not forget Vimeo, where you can put your videos. I believe Dailymotion is still around, right? The world is multi-platform, so you have to be multi-platform. The trouble is that when you're multi-platform, unless the organization has a type of YouTube partner system, you wind up giving this free content all over the place. So you hook up with a sponsor to get around that. Hey, Zennie62Media is looking for sponsors, by the way. Zennie, we're incorporated, Delaware C Corp, all right? So we've got a situation here because CES is the place, it's my mecca, where the latest in consumer technology is introduced every year. And there's always something of conversation. It doesn't matter if it's the Sony controversy regarding the producer of Spider-Man movies and her ouster. Her name just flew out of my window. Amy. She was actually partnered at one point with Tom Cruise. But at any rate, if you know what I'm talking about, just type it in there, because it'll come to me when I'm thinking about it. At any rate, on and on and on. Ivanka Trump speaking at CES. I was there, front row seat. On and on and on. CES is arguably the most important tech event during this time of year. And its importance is not reflected in its presentation on YouTube. I repeat, its importance is not reflected in its presentation on YouTube. It wasn't always that way. But of course there was, Zennie62Media to do the work that other people didn't want to do or didn't think to do. Come on, beat me. No, not with a wet noodle. You know what I'm saying? Competitively. Be multi-platform. And CTA, make sure to shore up your YouTube presentation. Work with YouTube partners like myself who are multi-platform. Before CES, not during. Because right now CES has this influencer relationship process that is was used for the past, I believe, 5 years. But what happens is that those influencers are only active during the show, or maybe just a week or two before it, but not months before, right? CTA needs to establish partnerships with influencers and multi-platform producers months in advance, and then monitor and make absolutely certain the recipients of those relationships are doing their end of the job. Zennie62Media, you can bet your bippies, will be a fantastic partner. So that's what I want to say in this 13 minutes. I think the bird's listening to my speech out there. Subscribe to Zennie62 and bookmark OaklandNewsNowBlog.com. We'll see you.